I still remember the exact moment my mom stepped back onto that train and didn't come back. At first, I thought it was just another one of her jokes. She had always loved teasing me. "You're too soft," she used to say with a laugh. "The world will eat you alive if you don't toughen up." I would smile, pretending it didn't sting, because deep down, it always did. That day, the station was crowded, people rushing, announcements echoing, the smell of coffee and metal in the icy air. I was holding my small bag, standing right next to her, trying to keep up with her fast pace. "Stay here," she told me suddenly. "I forgot something on the train." I nodded without question. That's what I always did. Obey. Wait. Trust. But what I didn't know that day was that she wasn't coming back. Minutes passed, then more minutes. The train doors closed with a sharp sound. I watched through the window as she stood inside, looking at me, and then she laughed. Not a warm laugh, not a loving one. A distant, careless laugh. Beside her, I saw my uncle. He leaned closer to her, said something, and both of them looked at me like I was part of some joke. Then the train started moving, at first slowly, then faster, until they were gone. I stood there frozen. My heart didn't race, it didn't break. It just stopped. People brushed past me. No one noticed, no one cared, just another girl standing alone at a train station. I told myself she would come back. "She has to," I whispered. But deep inside, something felt different, something cold, something final. And as the sun slowly began to set and my phone battery died, I realized something I had never felt before in my life. I wasn't just alone, I had been left behind. At first, panic came in waves. I didn't know where I was exactly. I didn't know which train to take or how to even begin getting home. My hands trembled as I looked around, hoping, praying that someone familiar would appear. But no one did. I sat on a cold metal bench, hugging my bag tightly. My thoughts kept circling back to that moment. Her laugh, the way she looked at me like I was nothing more than a challenge to win. That's when it hit me. This wasn't an accident. This was a test. A cruel, heartless test. She won't last. "An hour," I imagined my uncle saying. "She'll call crying," my mom probably replied. And suddenly, the fear inside me began to change. It didn't disappear, but it transformed into something sharper, something stronger. I wiped my tears and stood up. "Okay," I whispered to myself. "Let's see who's right." I walked to the ticket counter, my voice shaking but steady enough to be heard. "Excuse me, can you help me find a train to this address?" The man looked at me for a moment, then nodded kindly. He didn't ask too many questions. Maybe he saw something in my eyes. Something that told him I didn't need pity, just direction. Step by step, I figured it out. I asked strangers for help. I read signs carefully. I made mistakes, took the wrong platform once. But I kept going. Every second, I felt myself changing. The scared girl who stood frozen on that platform was slowly disappearing, and someone new was taking her place. By the time I boarded the final train home, I wasn't crying anymore. I was quiet, focused, awake. Hours later, when I finally reached my stop, the sky was dark. I walked home alone, and when I opened the front door, I heard laughter. Again. My mom and uncle were sitting in the living room, relaxed, amused. "Well, look who made it back," my mom said, clapping slowly like I had just performed for her. I didn't respond. I just stood there, looking at her. Really looking at her. For the first time in my life, I didn't see my mother. I saw someone who had tried to break me, for entertainment. And in that moment, something inside me quietly shifted. Forever. I didn't scream. I didn't cry, and I didn't argue, because I realized something important that night. People like her don't learn from words. They learn from consequences. So I stayed quiet, but I changed everything. Over the next few months, I stopped relying on her completely. I found small ways to earn my own money. I learned how to travel alone, how to make decisions, how to stand on my own without waiting for approval, she noticed. Of course she did. Look at you, she said one day, half laughing. Finally growing up. But she didn't know the truth. I wasn't growing into her version of strength. I was becoming something she couldn't control anymore. Then came the moment that changed everything. A family gathering. Relatives everywhere. Conversations, laughter, noise, and my uncle telling the story. Oh, you should have seen her face, he said, laughing. We left her at the station as a joke. Before he could finish, I spoke. Calmly, clearly. Do you also want to tell them how long you left me there? The room went silent. He froze. My mom's smile faded. I stepped forward. I was alone for hours. No phone, no help, no idea where I was. I looked around at everyone, and they thought it was funny. The laughter disappeared. Whispers started, judgment shifted, and for the first time, they weren't laughing with her. They were looking at her, questioning her, seeing her. My mom tried to brush it off. It was just a joke. No, I said softly. It wasn't, and that was it. No shouting, no drama, just truth. And sometimes, truth is the strongest form of revenge. That night, something changed between us. Not loudly, not dramatically, but permanently. She never joked like that again. She never looked at me the same way again. Because now, she knew. I wasn't someone she could break. I was someone who could walk away and still find her way back, alone and stronger than ever. Moral. Sometimes the people who try to test your strength end up revealing your true power, and the best revenge isn't hurting them back, it's becoming someone they can never control again.